each different bubble of reality is true.
A galactic historian is a person that looks at all the lines of dramatic karma.
Nudge, nudge, it's the Holy Grail.
Improvise. Mysterious.
It's counter psychic intelligence.
Why is DNA farming of this star cluster so important?
Because we do manifest our reality. We do create our reality.
Welcome, welcome, welcome everyone to another Living the Mystical Life Daily Webcast. Today, I am joined by Eric Rains. Eric has been in the industry of healing, massage, and all sorts of other esoteric stuff for many, many years. This is my first time introducing Eric. Met him just a handful of days ago, and we shared some wonderful times. So Eric Rains, welcome to the show today.
Thank you for having me, Andrew.
Oh, it's wonderful, man. That conversation we had the other day just really tickled me pink, and now that we're able to have this interview. So why don't you introduce yourself to the audience real quick?
Definitely. My name is Eric Rains. I'm the founder of Unleashing Natural Humanity, and you can find us on the web at www.unleashingnaturalhumanity, and I have a Facebook page under the same name. What this movement is all about is dedicated to unlocking the potentials inside of each and every one of us. We are all literally a multidimensional facet of creation expressing itself in individuality into individual form. And one of the things that we can do is actually tap into these levels of God consciousness. And, people like you who have been doing this for a while and you understand this already, there's so many people out who don't know this. And so this is, the whole movement that's dedicated to finding out how we can actually tap into these energies. And I just got to say, thank you so much for everything that you're doing, having me on the show today. And I'm really, really excited to get more into this interview here today. Like you said, that conversation that we had, we were able to touch onto some very, very poignant and powerful points of reality that honestly it expanded and opened me up into new awarenesses quite a bit. And so I have my expertise. I deal with awakening the light inside of people to clean out pain and tension and stagnant emotional poison inside of the body, leading to a pain-free body, clean mind, clean soul, clean environment, so on and so forth. But the awarenesses from that conversation have really, really been echoing inside of me. And I'm really, really excited to see where this ends up going, because each and every one of us are on a journey. There's no end to this path. We're all transcending at our own pace together, and there is no end to this. And every single level that you think that you've mastered it, you just recognize that you're really just at the beginning. And I just got to say, thank you so much for having me on, Andrew.
Oh, it's my pleasure. So why don't you tell us, how did your journey into this get started? What made you take up the discipline to be a master at this level?
So I don't want to say I'm a master yet, because there's still quite a few things that I'm working on that I'm not very good at, and I need to make stronger and more available inside of my own self and awareness. But I have been able to really put tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of hours into learning how to clean myself out. And this all came about because my whole entire life, I'd recognized that there was just something wrong with the reality that we were living in. And come my teenage years, I had these just explosive emotions inside of me, but I had no outlet for them. And I really started just walking down the wrong path. And I ended up just getting worse and worse and worse. And coupled with a background in martial arts and, a bunch of traumas and things from the past, from childhood, I ended up in a very, very dark place. And at about the beginning of 2013 is when I really started feeling the call to pull my life around. And this actually culminated after December 21st, 2012. That day, I literally lost all hope, and I spiraled into the most depressing black state that I'd been in my entire life. And I didn't recognize what was going on at the time. I do now. But in that moment, it was literally pushing me into the place to where I had to spark the light within myself. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here anymore. I would have ended up committing suicide, because it was really that bad. And when I was in the bottom of this deep, dark pit, feeling all these awful things, and I had this flash realization, it's like, Eric, you idiot. Like, you only feel these things if you allow yourself to feel them. Why are you dwelling in this pit? Why don't you go look for something that makes you happy? Why don't you go look for something that makes you feel good? And, this little flash realization, it's a very simple concept, but it literally rocked my entire world. It's like, why don't I, And that and another question of what would you do if money didn't exist? It literally threw my life into a tailspin to where I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I was passionate about. I didn't know anything about me. And I literally threw everything up in the air. My whole life went to shambles, and I ended up having to go move in with my mother with my 9-month-old daughter. And so at 26 years old, living with my mom, having no money whatsoever, no ability to provide for myself because I had to, go to school and take care of my daughter, I ended up in this space to where I literally didn't have the money or the availability to do anything because I just didn't have the gas money to get around. And a lot of people in this position would get really depressed and really, anxious about the situation. And I actually found it so incredibly liberating because here I was with about 6 months to do whatever I needed to make myself better. And I started a self-regiment of yoga, of energy work, of sun gazing, of Reiki, of Qigong. And it just, the whole summer, I was going gangbusters at it. I would do these walking meditations that, I'd kind of come to, and it's like, oh, wow, I just walked like 6 miles. And it just led up to this point to where one night, it was, I believe, February 19th, 2014, I heard this concept called chakra removal, and the chakra removal concept, I thought it was the dumbest thing that I'd ever heard. It was tied directly into endocrine centers of the body, and if you try to take your endocrine centers out, you're going to die. And so I just kind of dismissed that, and yet this stuck inside of my head to where there was a level to where I could not stop thinking about it, and I had to do some more research on it. And it was actually an article called The Secret of the Chakras that really kind of opened my understanding of what they were talking about. It's not a removal per se, it's more of an integration. And when we're looking at the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet spectrum of the visible light chakra centers, we recognize that visible light is only 1.7% of the entire electromagnetic spectrum. And so what I was doing was recognizing that I didn't want to have this limiting energy inside of myself, and that the chakra integration per se was more of an expansion into the 100% frequency of what we are supposed to be able to access in this reality. And so I did a meditation one night that I tried to change all of my energy centers into brilliant suns. And I had a major pushback that it wasn't like now what I know what a negative entity and dark energy pushback feels like. It wasn't like that. It was almost like I was trying to stretch something that wasn't ready to be in that state. And so I went through a period of about 4 months to where I was cleaning out the energy centers of the body into these clear crystalline states to where I could put any resonance of color inside of them. And then I started putting gold and silver light inside of those. And that all culminated the night of February 19th when I actually did the integration, and I blew my heart space into this massive sun that like everything was so hot around me that like it was burning my chin from the heat coming out of my chest. I had like a magnetic pushback about 1.5 to 2 feet around my body that it was almost hard to push into. And once you did push into it, it was almost like this heat that I don't know how to explain it. It was hot and it could burn you, but it wasn't heat like anything I'd ever felt before. At the same time, I was experiencing these physical sensations. I could feel everything like in a microscopic sense for about 50 to 60 feet in a bubble around me. Like I could close my eyes and feel very intensely to the point of not just seeing, but knowing exactly where its space in reality was and how it interacted with the reality around that. So I'm going through all of these amazing sensations inside of the body, and at the same time, I had this crazy click in the right temple, and then this click started breaking loose a piece that slid backwards inside of my head all the way to the back of my skull, right where the neck meets the at the spinal column level. The same time this was happening, I was having a slight headache that started as it clicked that got more and more painful all the way to the back of the head until once it was at the back of the skull, it felt like I had a red hot poker being hammered into the back of my head. And on top of that, I had my own internal voice that I speak inside of my head with, getting more distorted, crazy, angry, until eventually at the end, where the pain was very, very intense, I had a demon screaming inside of my head. There was no similarity to the voice as it started out, and this flash understanding of, oh my God, there's something inside my head talking inside of my voice. As soon as I recognized that, I immediately tried to pull this thing out. And so the first night, it took me about 3 hours to get rid of this thing. And once I finally did, I realized that there were other dark points inside of my body that were just like that one. And I removed these 3 or 4 other points. And then suddenly I had absolutely no pain whatsoever inside the body. I felt like I was a balloon. I was floating. And the clarity of thought, the level of focus was so much more intense than anything I had ever experienced before. And yet at the same time, I just had a crazy demon screaming inside of my head. And so I'm having these conflicting feelings with my body showing me the very definite results of what I just did with how amazing I felt. And at the same time, I'm like, I'm crazy. I need to go into the nut house. Like, I mean, I just had something screaming inside my head and it wasn't me. But oh my God, look at how I feel. And so there came about maybe a week and a half afterwards where I was walking around inside of this energy and it wasn't integrating, it wasn't going down. If anything, it was getting more intense. And I could see the people around me on a level that I'd never realized was even possible. And I could see all these dark points inside of them that they would be echoing with pain. They'd be echoing with anger or sadness or shame. And I would feel very intensely the emotions that were tied up inside of these dark points. And I just didn't really know what to do until I actually had a Reiki session that, funny enough, it was scheduled later on after I did this removal or the integration of the chakra systems. And I told her what happened and she didn't believe me. I could tell right away. She was just, yeah, whatever. And she did the session and I asked her, so what's going on? What do you feel? Because as she was doing the session, I could feel her energy going and trying to push into my energy centers. And just by me paying attention to it, it was just so much energy that she couldn't get anywhere near into my body, because I was noticing that her energy was almost like a grayish, dirty color, and it was being colored by the things that were inside of her head, inside of her heart, and inside of her abdomen. And so she says, well, you don't have chakras. Like, I don't know what on earth is going on, but as I went to connect in, it was like I tapped into a live wire of sunlight, and it was like you were working on me the whole time. And I said, well, that's really interesting, because this is what I noticed, and I saw these points that were inside of you. Can I take those out? And she says, yes, please do. And so I took these out of her, and that was the first removal that I actually did on anybody else. And she immediately dropped into an effortlessly quiet state of mind, to where it wasn't like she had to calm herself down or silence the mind or anything. It was like she went in there and there was absolutely nothing. She could echo inside of her own head with her voice. The body, the pain that completely went away. And these are things that she was a massage therapist, and she'd been trying to work and clean out of her body, on the physical level for months, if not years. And it completely opened and it cleansed, and she ended up having this chi flow that was so incredibly strong. I immediately was like, okay, this is pure energy right here. Yes, please work on me. And then the work that she was able to do was just phenomenally amazing afterwards. And I've just been working the massage industry, working with the physical therapist and the chiropractors up until the Secret Space program in 2015, to where I told somebody I could do this, and they had me work on him. And it turns out he was one of the speakers at Rob Potter's convention there, and he went and told everybody. And I got onto an interview, and I've been doing these removals ever since. And the more I do, I believe I've worked with over 5,000 people plus as of today. But the more of these I do, the stronger the work gets, the more I understand. But more importantly, the easier it is for me to actually induce people into their own chi flow. Because like one of the biggest things that I really, really have to put out there is I'm not a guru, I'm not a master, I'm not anybody who is like special or better than anybody in any way. I am just a human who has figured out some very natural things that we all have the ability to do. And then I just busted my butt to get to this point to where I could access these energies. And what I do is I open up an incredibly high vibration frequency for people around them. And that way they can start cleaning their bodies out. I'll help them by flushing meridians through. I'll show them where they can inhale and bring chi, bring life, bring love, bring light into the areas in the body, and then they can do the work for themselves. And this is what I have really just been called to do. It's my passion. I am here to show people that we are not victims inside of our body, and pain is nothing more than your body telling you that, hey, there's blockage here, whether it's on the mind, the body, or the spirit level. It's up to you to get rid of it. It's up to you to fix this. And this is just the warning sign, and you don't have to have this inside of you once you pay attention to it. That's why I'm here.
Perfect. You are so in alignment with just about everything that I teach, and so many other layers there. And as I said, I was so tickled in our conversation ahead of time, and now we're at a point where you are a master of radio. You were saying before you're not a master. You are. You just have to understand the levels that people are coming from.
Yes.
At the very beginning, my own audience labeled me the anti-guru guru.
Yeah.
And that's something people should understand. We very easily get put on pedestals. And at times we as presenters have to knock the pedestal down and say, I'm a human being just like everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
That's a reminder. Eric did what he did because he chose. He went through a whole unique process. No matter what was there in his fear or the demon or whatever was going on, he persevered and he took discipline to a new level. This is ultimately what it takes to come to this level of presenters and healerships and working on thousands of people. You've done 5,000. I've done 10,000 public sessions on 475 radio shows. We are each our unique service, no one greater than the other. And the purpose of Eric and I coming together is two healers, two knowledgeable people that have worked on a wide range and variety of people, present to you guys a form of healing, a perception. Now, Eric, in our conversation, I shared with you a couple of the teachings, and you had your own unique connections to them. Today, we're going to talk about the union and communion consciousness strike. What is it that you would like to say to the audience in a short format here? Because we're going to go ahead and read it and do a Q&A on it so people can learn from certain aspects. And at the end, I'd like to do a general healing, a general removal of anything for anyone that's listening to this show as a gift, as our service to the fifth world of peace.
Oh, geez, I resonate so much with that. Yes, this is what we're here for. It's our service to the fifth world of peace. So the alchemical equity, union, and communion consciousness strike, reclaiming the carrot and the stick revocation. This is hands down one of the most intense half hours I have had to go through energetically just by pushing myself into this, because there is so many aspects that you cover inside of this strike right here that I've never even given awareness to. And as I was bringing my awareness through them, because one thing that I really kind of want to put out here is that a lot of people, when they speak contract revocations, they don't understand how to put the energy and the emotion into what they're speaking. And so it's not just words, it's literally an echo of energy, of intent and imagery that echoes throughout the universe around them. And when you start recognizing that you want to go beyond speech, when you want to go beyond just thinking your words into the sound around you and go through the actual energies themselves, it turns into almost like an epic. It turns into like a meditational journey of just epic proportions that I have not experienced anything like that up to date. And there were some very specific things inside of the revocation that I specifically want to read later, but hands down, the way that you ended this, the pièce de résistance here, let me actually read this one. Let's get down to this real quick here. For we know you are finite and will be forgotten to the waves of time, and that is the reason you challenge the law of one at the very moment. You know you will be forgotten. Your hollow victories will be overshadowed by our greater success to make you irrelevant to our creational process. We still hold love for you and the potential yous if you should choose to be a signature frequency match for peace, union, and communion. We hold a candle in all the hot flame you blow, the hot air you blow. If it should go out, then you will be left alone in your finite creation without any light to empower you or your systems who need light to survive on. All that work to fool us, trick us, dumb us down, confuse what love is or was, all that is for naught. Your zeal, drive, and vigor at a perfect creation has backfired and boomeranged back upon you in all dimension time streams, galaxies, and universes. You could not have predicted a full-on consciousness strike, for it never existed until you made a set choice point to define us as non-free will chattel for your amusement, as pretend gods skewing the law of one to fit your finite beliefs of light creations. With love, we blow out the candle and walk away from your creation. This right here was absolutely powerful for me. The levels of energetic echoing that came out through that as I was going through the whole entire revocation of this carrot and string mentality, it built up and then it faded and it built up, and it was like all these ebbs and flows that came to this perfect harmonic convergence. And it's like each aspect built up an energy that's supposed to jump right to the end, and as you go through them, the end becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. And as soon as you go through that and you blow out that candle and walk away from the creation, my goodness, the space that I felt that opened up around me, it was phenomenal. I've never brought my awareness to these levels that you laid out in such minute detail, and it's beautiful, Andrew. You have done such an amazing service to humankind right here just by putting this out. Thank you. Thank you.
And to hear you relate instantly to the teachings, it brings a pink energy to my heart now, because this consciousness strike has been out now a year and 5 months. And within 2 months of it going out, a variety of shamans all throughout Australia, London, South America, and United States were using this consciousness strike to start their ayahuasca journeys. And it spread to hundreds and thousands of, let's just say, other communities that were using it as part of their sacred ceremonial process. And the gift here is hearing other people instantly recognize the layers of teachings within it. I wrote this on December 17th, 2016, and released it on the 17th of December. Sorry, I made it on the 17th, created on the 13th and released it on the 17th. And I released part 2 a little later on. What I want to share here is what it took to write was 3 hours of perfect flow, in which there was no darkness anywhere, any way, shape, or form around me, no perception of light. It was a pure neutrality and observance of this string time that we're all in. And what binds us together in these shared reality rules, in which union and communion is meaningless in these shared reality. No matter how hard communities try to get together, they will always be divided, fractionalized, and reduced to but a handful of hierarchical systems that will go nowhere with. This strike allows each individual person to add to their interconnectedness. Now, it is a journey. It takes roughly 30 minutes to read out. But the challenge is, can you remain high frequency? And can you go through the next process, which is allowing the words coming out of your expression to have resonance in your field, to have the belief behind them? Because as Eric said, to do these contract revocations, you must be in the moment, in this mighty, ever co-creative moment of the now, so that your unique signature frequency begins to define your rules, borders, policies, and procedures in your unseen world. And this consciousness strike is an epic imprinting into your reality of, no, I will not exchange energy with negative beings in any way, shape, or form. And you will not use tacit consent in any way, shape, or form. To help define yourself as the celestial medium of peace, to learn what a peacemaker and a peacekeeper truly is in your own truth reality. To understand we all live in the placebo belief engine reality. What you believe in is your truth, and it is no greater than anyone else's truth, and we cannot judge them, for each in their own time, in their own way. And then it comes to the education of what is true forced evolution, posing as natural evolution, versus true natural organic evolution. And once we learn to truly define that as part of our internal rules, borders, policies, and procedures, is how we can learn to take up the separation of densities, to no longer allow those who steal our life force and vitality to have access to our energetic realities. We can still love them unconditionally, but we do not have to give them open doorways to trample over our fields. And that is what this consciousness strike presents.
It's beautiful. It really, truly is. It's the ability to step into a high vibrational state with a focus like that and then go through these multiple levels. The more aware of your energy and body you are, the more powerful these revocations will be. But regardless who you are, just putting your awareness onto the multiple levels that are laid out right here, it'll help in so many different ways. It's really a truly beautiful act of service that you've given to humanity here.
Thank you. So what I want to do is have us read a little bit. You go a page and I'll go a page, and then we'll take a break and we'll talk about what's there, because there's so many layer upon layer upon layer upon layer of messages here. This whole reading out is an unpacking of infinite code into your reality, of how to imprint your reality with such a way that whatever's targeting you in that moment can instantly, you can connect to all these other frequencies of saying no. The power of interconnectedness. All right, so how about I'll start? All righty. The alchemical equity, union and communion consciousness strike, reclaiming the carrot and stick revocation. I, in this ever-present moment of now, choose to form a multi-layered spiritual court of alchemical equity for the express purpose of discooperating with any forced evolutionary service in any dimension, time stream, galaxy, or universe in which I operate on as a signature frequency of light. I amplify my consciousness strike field, denying service to all forced evolutionary systems that are not a signature frequency match for the common moral code of do no harm to any sentient kind. I open the union and communion hall of peacemakers' message in all time streams, galaxies, and universes I exist on. Union and communion hall 000 is now open for all those who understand this message of peace. The warriors of the rainbow offer these teachings in the times of the now for the reasons of peacemakers' creation. The teachers who will be teachers will step forward and accept the torch of eldership. This first message is to all those ready to take up the mantle of responsibility for a full-on consciousness strikes. Say these words from inside your heart. The moment of ever-present moments has come. From this point forwards and backwards through all time space, I break away from this hologram of light that is forced evolution, domination, and control from my signature frequency until they become an individual and collective match for the common moral code of do no harm to any sentient kind. I choose to be a match for peace and harmony. This choice to go on full universal exchange consciousness strike has no limits of my rejections of contractual or blind tacit consent offers. My choice is to become a standing DNA light body nation with celestial relations to Earth. My choice to incarnate does not include me in your forced evolutionary hologram of unsovereign reality. This message is to all those who drive forward this hologram of reality. This consciousness strike creates picket lines that demand collective bargaining and mediation. This standing DNA light body nation of one demands full light body equity for all forced evolutionary processes that are under your light dictatorship of domination and control. This being of the now for all other ever-present moments of now ceases, desists, cancels any actions, non-action energy exchanges, knowledge exchange, celestial DNA exchange systems, karmic or implicate order of thought constructs that create interconnectivity with any forced evolutionary systems that is not a signature frequency match for the common moral code of do no harm to any sentient kind. So let me pause there and let's talk about this opening line, because here is where it unpacks the code.
Oh, so the first line, I in the ever-present moment of now choose to form a multi-layered spiritual cord of alchemical equity. This right here, it's really stepping into your I am presence. This is a sovereign declaration of individuality outside of any type of system of control or domination. And this is the energy that is being opened up right here to even begin with. And the express purpose of discooperating with any forced evolutionary service in dimension, time stream, galaxy, or universe in which I cooperate as a signature frequency of light, this neutralizes everything that is of a predatory intent to you. And this is all the outside programs that are causing all the blockages and all the abilities for negative entities to find back doors inside of you. You're addressing those outside programs that are naturally in a cyclical pattern. And so these are the programs that they started with the initial trauma, and every once in a while they might have to bring in some more generational trauma, but these are the things that generation after generation after generation, that this is just the way that we do things. Like circumcision specifically is a very good example of this. It has to be that way just because mine looks that way. And nobody ever thinks about the underlying reasons why all of these things happen. It's these systems right here that we're addressing.
Yeah. And it's so well right there. It opens it up and it takes away, it demasculates a lot of the offensive processes that are going on. Then as it goes into amplifying the strike field, denying service to all forced evolutionary systems that is not a signature frequency match for the common moral code to do no harm. That right there is saying, when you are an emanation of that, in the third paragraph, this is where the consciousness strike will unpack new layers of knowingness within you. The peacemaker's message, the union and communion hall, this is all the setup as more and more comes through. The part that I want to point out here is this standing DNA light body nation of one demands full light body equity. This is you, the individual stream of light that came here for a spiritual contract with the planet and soul family members who discovered that there was a shared reality rule in which totally altered their individual and generational choices of who they were, and what they could be.
Mm-hmm. I choose to be a match for peace and harmony.
Exactly.
That's what it's all about.
By stating that over and over and over again throughout this maintenance of high energy and frequency is where you can illuminate dark points, such as Eric was talking about before, by simply applying the consciousness strike to those darkness points.
And see, it's so simple. It's like we don't have to fight. We don't have to rise up inside of the energies of this system. We just stop. We just take away our consent and we say, no, you no longer have our energy. We take away all implicit consent, tacit consent, implicit, behind the scenes stuff we don't even know about, all the fine print. And no, this is me. This is mine. And I'm going to tend me. And it's just such a beautiful, easy way to bring yourself back into the knowledge of sovereignty, of now.
Yes. So let's continue with reading. So where I left off was the third paragraph on the second page.
This being of the now, and for all ever-present moments of now, cease and desist and cancel any actions, non-actions, energy exchanges, knowledge exchanges, celestial DNA exchange systems, karmic or implicate order of thought constructs that create interconnectivity with any forced evolutionary systems that is not a signature frequency match for the common moral code of do no harm to any sentient kind. To understand the levels of consciousness strike, I must name it to claim it. This is the power I am taking back from forced evolutionary systems of domination and control, while I am signature frequency match for full universal DNA light body consciousness strike. I am a being who is non-hierarchical order. My strike field extends to any pecking order, collective agreement, or spiritual soul treaty created by an elite class that does not give full rights, duties, and responsibilities to each and every person as a sacred being on a sacred path of organic, co-creative evolution with great spirit moving through the great mysteries of life. I am a being of non-duality. With this, I cease all forced duality operations, creations of interconnected holograms of simulated dream space within your collective of domination and control that uses my DNA as a hierarchy system of forced duality. I am a being of equal concreation, non-competition, expression of unity with Prime Creator. You are not my medium to knowledge of Source Light. You and all your I am collective hierarchical yous are all denied service in all color frequencies of time until you become a signature frequency match for equal co-creation, non-competition, non-hierarchical order. This declaration of full spiritual consciousness strike extends to all my spiritual entourage, ancestors, and unseen world of energy exchangement. I deny every service of spiritual exchange, any cooperation with any corporation or incorporation of false light artificial intelligence. Do you want me to keep going?
No, that's a lot right there. Let's
Yeah.
quickly go over some of these points, because it's once again, it's unpacking non-duality, non-equal co-creation, non-competition, non-hierarchical order. These are the signature frequency matches for peace, union, and communion when you are not in competition with someone. The truth of non-competition is you nullify the very essence of competition. Therefore, nothing can take beneficial processes from it when you are in full non-competition.
Mm-hmm. And you have to name it to claim it. This is all about the awareness. Unless you understand what is happening outside the body or inside the body, not even through an energetic awareness of understanding, but just a general mental glance over this knowledge and understand that this is what you're accessing, that is when you gain the ability to do something about it. You have to have awareness. And as soon as you have awareness, you have the ability to shift it.
Exactly. And once you have that awareness and ability to shift it, you learn that what you focus on looks back at you.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where that journey of you people learning, where they learned about reptilians and all this other dark stuff, this is where they can say, well, that previous focus, that stuff looked back at me and somehow it became a match. And now I'm stopping that match because I'm literally flipping the frequencies of the now. Every blessing is a curse and every curse is a blessing until you change the frequency.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'll continue on here. We left off at artificial intelligence. I am not a being in service to war through tacit consent or living in your forced evolutionary system. I did not exchange of current or currency of energy exchangement through the amassment of karmic debt through the Babylonian money magic system. My price is not set or negotiable. I demand full spiritual alchemical equity in this moment. I choose to control this moment of now, to testify what is blatantly obvious to anyone who is not a forced evolutionary zealot, martyring their life force for ideological theory, promoting their own creations as the only creations in existence worthy of illumination. I choose to sleep in the fires of great mysteries creation, not in the fires of your miscreation, of miscreant minds, lost to the petty disputes of hierarchical concept of singular belief. I choose to dream with my source stream connection, with my celestial guides and guardians in full dreamtime engagement with me. All my celestial guardians and warriors step forward on this collective consciousness strike, enforcing zero exchange, equal co-creation, non-competitional, non-hierarchical order as the mediative means of collective exchange with this breakaway DNA standing light body dreamtime nation of universal one. I invite all soul family relations who choose to carry the torch of full consciousness strike with the systems of forced evolutionary pride. I invite all soul relations who are a signature frequency match for peace to join the Union and Communion Hall and add your signature frequency of denial of all services in all dimensions, time streams, galaxies, and universes in which we all exchange light body DNA light codes. Each person is supported by the celestial dreamtime nations who hold the mantle of peacemakers' fire of creation. I invite all lightship captains needing emergency services of denial to take up DNA port relations with the Union and Communion Hall so our strike field can extend to any point in time-space light creations. I extend our Union and Communion strike offers to any standing DNA light body nation embroiled in forced evolution. Deny your master's service. Deny the master of puppets the ability to put on a puppet show you believe in. We walk away, but not in betrayal, but in love for ourselves and our future relations who do not want war with their signature frequency of light co-creation. For every ever-present moment that has been, will be, or is, I, as my collective DNA nation of one, in communion and union strike, create a color distortion field of complete and total denial of services to the system of hierarchical domination and control. I'm going to pause there. Here is where we transition from the I am to the we are, where we bring in new layers of our belief system, celestial guides and guardians, soul family relations, light ship captains.
This point in time right here is very energetically poignant. Just following along as you were reading this right here, there is the court of equity that you're opening in your I am presence, and now you are standing up inside of galactic consciousness in that I am presence, and you are saying to the universe, this is the court of equity, and I am holding this accountable to the light forces outside of this system. I am connecting into everything that I've been blocked off from before in a natural order. And this is really, really a powerful moment. It's really beautiful stuff, Andrew.
Yeah, this is where you realize you're not in a 2K race. You're in a 25K race. And have you really practiced?
Mm-hmm.
Because anything, and for most people, the first time going through it, as they get to this part right there, is probably the highest frequency they've been previously, unless they regularly do ceremonies of raising their frequency.
Yeah.
This is the 26, K race. And if you've practiced for it, you'll get through it. If you haven't, you're going to find yourself stumbling over words, unable to speak them out. Some people burst into tears in certain spots. I have so many testimonials of this, people reading these out for the first time, and complete changes happen with them because it turns on the light switch within them.
It's really heavy stuff. It's really, really beautiful to watch in effect. It's really cool to, and not just that, because I mean, I'm sure you understand how this works already because you deal with these energies, but when you do these types of interviews and you extend out to the people who are listening, you can feel it echo through space and time. And already I can feel people understanding a much deeper level about what the systems of reality are and how deeply we are in control of them if we either A, give away our power, or B, take it back. And there's some really, really good stuff going on. Thank you so much for inviting me onto this show. I'm really enjoying watching this happen right now.
Yeah, great. I'm so glad you're here too. So now with this said, I want everyone to take what has been said as the reading of this and apply it to your local bubble of reality now. Yes, this is an interview format, but at the end of this, Eric and I are going to do a little extra twist. We're going to try to remove some extra points so that shouldn't be in everyone's reality, a general healing for those ready to accept it. So this is the context. You, as your ever-present moment being of the now, make this moment sacred enough for you to allow the golden tube of sunlight that you are forever having every day and night of your life connect to you, and begin to use the union and communion conscious strike as a metaphor of your own belief process, so you are not giving away power to Eric or myself, so you can interconnect to all of those things you've been denied by the system of domination and control. So as we go forward with this, we'll just reapply the context. It's like a save store point in a video game. And the more you get through with this, the more at the ending will we be able to mass clear out light to all those that have listened live, will listen in the future, or will listen in the past. All right. So Eric, I think we're on the 5th paragraph.
Right after hierarchical domination and control, correct?
Yes.
All right. This is a choice I choose to make solid, real, now. I choose to say no to any further cooperation within your corporation or corporeal manifestation of spiritual therapy of destiny or fate. I deny all your carrot and stick wisdom. I take back the stick as a form of power you perceive you have. I am a fully unpredictable source incarnate function with no light body mechanics you can manipulate, duplicate, or interconnect with until you and all of your collective past, present, and future become a signature frequency match for union and communion. Shape-shifting my reality, shaping and forming the shapeless and the formless. I begin the universal hunt for all beings needing collective bargaining services with their collective that uses forced evolution as a means of civil interaction, posing as natural order. We bring back the meaning of life to all DNA light body nations who have been forced into service to a system designed to delay, deny, or disrupt the natural co-creative evolution of a soul planning lifetimes through a fetus and womb processes of light manifestation. I extend our collective power of denial of all celestial, galactic, and universal services to all universal citizens living their sacred path as their own self-illuminated master of the now. We extend our collective bargaining services to all celestial beings under the thumb of domination and control. We send you light, sound, energy, creations so that you may receive the fullness of our universal strike energy. We co-create with the entire whale-singing nations of all celestial strike relations the song line on full on celestial consciousness strike. Shed off their hierarchical order of soul commerce and incarnational means.
Powerful words.
Mm-hmm.
There was a flow coming out of you there at the end. It was like as if all your sun-aligned chakras were, metaphorically cleaning out the turbo carbs.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, just even speaking these and connecting into the energy and what it represents. Being as how I am much more familiar with this type of energy than most people, I recognize when these flows ebb and swell. And just by talking to that, man, I lit up like the sun. That was, like I keep on saying, you've really put something out amazing here, Andrew. The more people who dive into this and make it through these checkpoints and get through all these points to where they can focus and really push through on these levels, putting their intent into these words, it's really some beautiful, amazing things that are happening right now. There is a reason why the collective is breaking away from the systems of domination and control, and it's specifically stuff like this.
Exactly. All right, so I'm going to up the game a little bit. I'm going to emanate differently. Now, because I wrote this, I understand the layers and webs and foreshadowing that it's creating as a written digital document. So what I'm going to do now is part of my emanation process, because Eric is very connected to the sun, I'm going to bring in our sun, our galactic sun, and our universal sun to simply act as a sacred neutral observer within our presence here. It's something we all can do at any moment in time. It's a choice, and it is a spiritual muscle that, when used correctly, can really change the fullness of your unconditional love emanation process. Alrighty. We extend a fixed point in universal space-time to be a guidepost through all time frequencies, so each celestial nation may have a solid point in galactic and universal time to plan their own process without the system of light dictatorship dictating the celestial services rendered to its offsprings. You are not a wet nurse to a spiritual ideology of pride. Stop following the gods that failed to prove they were gods. They only proved they could endure the passage of time without understanding the universal law of one. To all those in unawareness they can strike, deep down inside you know you can reclaim the power of knowingness through the haze of race amnesia. It will take a single choice to allow Great Spirit to work with you, guided by your own actions, to begin your movement of one, to be one with the signature frequency of peacemakers, so you and all your future yous can deny service to forced evolutionary systems of domination and control. I speak to the unseen world that guides all those in one degree of separation from prime creator, forced into a mediocrity of life path. Today is the day you clock out of time and walk over the metaphorical line of creation and decide to be on full consciousness strike with all DNA relations, using forced evolution as a means to create a false light system of collective consciousnesses, of elite minds ruling a collective in unknowingness with full knowledge. They are using and abusing the divine law of one to force ideological belief systems into the light body DNA generations of then, now, and will be. They can no longer create for you if you become a Dreamtime match for the Union and Communion Hall of Universal One. And so it begins. This address is to our ancestors, past, present, and future. This address is multidimensional, multi-galaxy, multi-universe address to all the factions that have taken it upon themselves to drive forward our hologram of shared, unsovereign reality. We are on full consciousness strike. To all those self-supposed appointed leaders of this generation of the great Dreamtime awakening, and to all factions operating in Earth's dream space that manipulate and pervert the natural co-creative path of our species and planet, I say unto you the following. I reject the aberration known as global media machine, which spews out lies and fabrications so your influence belief system can retain power over those who are still unaware of their true human potential in this reality, now shared between those awake and the awakened. I reject the constant assaults of propaganda impregnated with the highest dense energy levels upon our souls. I reject your system of domination and control. I spit out your sodium fluoride and GMO corn. I discard your IDs and passport systems. I delete your fiat currency and false debt created. I reject your notion of false science. I reject your false equation of gravity and reality function. I reject your sense of culture that says we are male-dominated society. I reject you and all that you stand for. I know love. Love is what it is. It is the experience, and in this particular reality, love is the foundational rule they tried to change. Love is mother and father. Love is earth. Love is Gaia. Love is the wind, the ocean, the rain, the moving of the seasons and the passings of the stars. All that is love. When we choose to live in this world with full love expression, domination and control has not a place here. We are unlimited beings. We do not have to go to war. We do not have to defend. We have to learn our history. We have to look back at ourselves and our DNA and take apart the sacred geometry systems and return them to zero balance. Let's take a pause there. As a big burst and bubble of energy right there at the end.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say you're seeing in the unseen world as we're going through this, Eric? What is your visions there?
So just the awareness of the sun, the galactic central sun, the universal sun, just by having this attention on you, it's when you have people who have been training for a very long time to build up this energy, all they have to do is focus on you just by looking at you, and there's a level of understanding that they're gaining from your energy right there, and it's something that's a palpable sensation. It feels like warmth. It feels like an opening type of a flow. This is along those same type of lines, but this is on a much, much deeper, bigger level of consciousness. And there is attention from the entire universe into the earth right now with these energies that are being radiated out around our planet. And so what I see on the planet itself, it's almost like the size of a grain of rice compared to the energy that's being opened up right now. And it's almost like one side of the planet is very, very bright and the other side is resisting it. And there are points of light inside of this darkness that are becoming much, much brighter and dissolving points of darkness inside of all of that. This energy right here, it's Swiss cheesing the grid. It's really making it so that there are levels of light codes that are able to be coming through on much deeper levels than people are consciously aware of. These are those swelling yearnings inside when you know that there's more, when you understand that you just don't understand, and you know that you can grasp it, but you have to look in the right place. Like this is that pull. This is that yearning to know that there's a home out there and we're not a part of it right now. And we have to find it. We have to start creating that energy. And that's what's waking up right now. Like this is the push that gets people to start recognizing that what they realize around them as, you know, the solid universe is not solid one bit. Everything that they realize they thought was truth is a lie. And this is that push underneath the surface that recognizes all these things. And it's the lie on the top. It's that surface level of mental energy, that program inside of the mind virus that we're working against right now, that it's literally Swiss cheesing that level. this is helping so many people right now. This is really just beautiful stuff, Andrew.
Thank you so much. So we're at a point now where we get to up the energies. So where I left off is the top of the next page here with this stated. Now, what I'd like for you to do is to bring in that local star, the galactic central sun, and the universal central sun. And what I'm going to do is just try to hold the general imagery for everyone to feel, see, empath, that we are in a star cluster rotation that is spiraling around a galaxy, and a galaxy that's spiraling around a universe, and that we are connecting them as part of the context of this next process.
Okay.
So part of this is Eric and I using our each individual skills of healing as we're going through this to extend to everyone here an opportunity to learn through the words and feel through the emanation and empath and have more greater knowingness, and our unseen skills offering gifts that help people remove layers of perspective that denied them an understanding.
All right, I'm connecting in multiple levels using the filaments of connection from our sun directly up the spiral arm of the galaxy, directly into the galactic core, using the bigger versions of these filaments to connect into the galactic cores of infinite galaxies, spiraling around the great center of the universe. Tapping into these energies, I allow them to flow. With this stated, this union and communion strike extends to every line of light creation and every potential time stream galaxy and universe that needs equal concreation, non-competition, non-hierarchical order as a means of collective bargaining with their forced evolutionary system that is abusing the law of one as its means of ideological manifestation of teaching truth. To whom it may concern, in the forced evolution process of avoidance and responsibility, I give you back your responsibility to hold for yourself. I can no longer be the recipient of your wisdom or understandings of light journeys. You and your collective are hereby notified that we are on communion and union strike. All celestial services are ceased in the dimension time streams, galaxies, and universes I simultaneously exist in. I manifest the Peacemaker's Lodge to be the guide and guardian to all those on strike with the forced evolutionary system of domination and control. I share the torch of Elder Peacemaker fires with all those in union and communion with this consciousness strike. We, the sovereign, I am beings of the time, make our message known to the ancestors past, present, and future. We are not your soul commerce market. We are our own civilization of one, separate of your projected hologram of unsovereign reality. You are banned from using our light streams in any form of representative physical, non-physical frequency of light. We are not the objects to be held as data points or for precognitive interactions. You are now severed in connection with our source stream frequency until you become a signature frequency match for union, communion, with the common moral code of do no harm to any sentient kind. I call to my sacred frequency of life force, the raw spirit that fuels my expression of life drive. I call to the four elements of the Earth Mother's realm. I call to the wisdom of the moment in which I reclaim my power from the system of power distribution and the transmutation of life force into consumable fuel interconnected to the Babylonian money system. I hereby cancel all contracts with each and every energy company, transmutation system, advertising system, sacred geometry science systems that create a process of valuing power for exchange of life force. I break all contract vows and agreements with all middlemen scenarios that block me from direct access to unlimited energy for self-consumption and equal co-creation with Earth Mother's realms. I erase all assumed forms of tacit consent to any form of being creating forced evolution through the use of power distribution centers.
accounting systems, or any other means, esoteric or technological, that preclude me from unlimited access to Earth Dreamtime energy.
Lots of power flowing there. There's actually angelic tears going on at the level of interconnectedness here. Earth is a place of freedom and unity, not a field of useful life force to be milked of its very essence until it is dried up and useless once more. We are not beings of forced evolution. We are divine, co-creative beings of light manifested in this world as our divinity path of light stream. We choose to manifest here in the now, and with this choice, we understand, we walk into this world awake and aware of the systems of power exchange, the power lines, power generation systems, hydroelectric, fossil fuels, each and every system that charges the individual, anything at all for transmuted life force to drive scientific belief system engines of locomotion or generation of electromagnetic energy. We as natural living beings do not consume life force that is not given its full rights, duties, and responsibilities as the Blue Road ancestors offering their post-life force as ancestral wisdom. Any power generation or distribution process that creates an imbalance in the divine co-creative will of a light being on its natural path are hereby revoked at the source stream connection point of space-time. I erase the technological and esoteric blueprint that is imprinted upon the fabric of time-space and the dream weave of this planet and celestial system. I deliver an immediate call on debt return of my energetic investment in any lifetime during any of my life force harvests. Let's take a pause there. We had that massive burst of energy followed by a knowledge process that you are responsible for your awareness of how the electrical systems interact with you. For that is how the system of domination and control has had access since we've gone into cities that have had lights and power within them. For in the very frequency of the electromagnetic system is something observing you.
The energy is there. You need to bring the awareness of you to bring the energy in.
Exactly. That means there's the unlimited power systems if we come into balance with it, the very electrical wall sockets we have. If we are in true balance, no matter what the technological blueprint is, we can override it and hack this hologram.
Mm-hmm.
What are you feeling going through you?
There's so much connection happening right now. This is completely different than when I did this by myself. There are people who are tapping into this energy right now, and you specifically know who you are. I see you looking at me.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about them for a second. One of the reasons I was so tickled pink was your level of interconnectivity. And we're combining our interconnectivity right now all the way up to the galactic and universal level. Each of our individual source streams stating something to our heart's core that is truth. None of these words here we can be in denial of.
None.
Right. We're sharing the common moral code of do no harm to any sentient kind. We are stating in the ever-present moment of now, we are the I am aware being, choosing to make these statements real as our emanation. Those angelic tears are from 2 points of angelic concepts that hadn't been interconnected in a long time because our world represents a hub of disinterconnectedness. And we are breaking it down with every word we make, becoming interconnectedness. We are the universal beehive, reconnecting everything now.
Let's keep going. As the apex of my DNA ancestry contract holder or giveaways over in amnesia to be in association with my consciousness strike now.
Any of my power being employed for domination and control will no longer work in any way or form that is not in consent from this I am now. No life force can ever be associated with any structure not in alignment with Earth Mother's true role in the universe, free of that false grid structure harnessing her. You have been served. Your borrowing from me is over for any lineage on any level, seen and unseen. Your irrational exuberance reliant on my life force is no longer supported. I call in all markers in time in which I was in service to the system of domination and control using the Babylonian money magic system. I call in the universal forensic accountant auditors to compare and contrast the service and light. I demand the immediate repayment of this investment of light in this time-space reality. I can extend no credit to you. In any dimension, time stream, galaxy, or universe I simultaneously exist on, I register you in the Akashic record for immediate debt collection from all celestial sources overdrawn to remedy and resolve with the Force evolutionary systems. I begin the immediate liquidation and disintegration of all your seen and unseen assets, thought constructs, and ideological DNA theories. I demand the instant gratification of all sweat equity endured in the preservation of all time-space creations during the 4 uncreational paradox events you created. I upload the entire database of universal karmic debt for the universal tax auditors to discover the totality of karmic violations, to discover and resolve, for the contract holders of violators in this moment to be triggered now. The hierarchical system has played its last hierarchical chess move. The game is over. The Ponzi scheme has been seen in the unseen layers. This fraud time system is now exposed to all light being manifestations as indebted servitude without end. No power in association to the above stated amnesia power giveaway I have participated in will support the fraud time imposition anymore. Universal time is the only mechanism appreciated in harmonic expression of life going forth. My power, take back here, allows me to feel the vitality of a sleep in after each and every sleep with full dreamtime recall every time I wake. This is your 5:30 a.m. wake-up call, domination and control. You too may enjoy the infinite sleep-ins within some other universe that is not ours as a process of remedy and resolve. With love, we co-create this full union and communion consciousness strike in all time streams, galaxies, and universes. With this stated, all beings in awareness and unawareness in the hierarchical management system who should require collective bargaining and mediation with their hierarchical collective, we extend to you this invitation to join Union Hall 000. Your dues are, you must be a signature frequency match for peace, for union, and a communion with the law of one.
Wow. Powerful, powerful energies, man.
Yeah, this is, it's rapidly going beyond words. I can hardly even talk about this now.
Yeah. From the person that has the perspective of writing this, with this stated, all beings in awareness and unawareness in the hierarchical management system, this is to all those light workers out there who do want to be able to say, I did something on this journey. That hierarchical management system can be seen as a collective in which we can give them choices in which they don't have. Those senators and congressmen, they are following a set of spiritual contracts that they cannot get out of. Or they have set themselves down that path thousands of lifetimes ago. We, as people coming together in interconnectedness, can change the very potentials of our future generations by the choices we make now. I'm going to continue on here. So the next part is called Collective Bargaining Has Begun. The universal communion and union consciousness strike has permeated the permutations of domination and control's form of forced evolution. Our methods of denial of service has created an imbalance in the harvestables and consumables the system uses to feel its own experience separate of us. Those of us harvested and denied our natural co-creative energy, the accounting systems of the system are grinding to a halt as they can no longer use our life force as credit or tacit consent to create lifetimes for us in unawareness. The artificial intelligence and artificial sentient systems are now looking for food, fuel to provide them with the life experiences they were feeding off of us. The artificial intelligence and sentient systems now look at the elite class of rulers. They see vast sums of stored energy in the sacred geometry systems. The elite class now has a set of choice points before the inaction of action and reaction from the universal denial of all services, past, present, and future. Their choice points include but do not preclude them from the unlimited point of view. It will be their own dogmas and ideological beliefs of pride that drive them into an infinite point of view that will lead them into the inevitable outcome, become a match for peace, union, and communion, or leave this place and return to their home densities and celestial teachers to repeat the lessons of the law of one. Each moment to moment, we hold a unified strike field of universal denial of services, seen and unseen. We say no as a collective, that they have denied us as exists as a collective. Their point of view is we are not a collective. Their point of view is we are their experiment to prove that they are the master frequency of light. Their point precludes our divine co-creative flow of the uniworlds layered over all forms of light experience. Their point of view has no merit, no substance, no actionable outcome with our streams of light, our singular message of universal no, and the meta message, what part of no do you not understand, emanates from our universal message of peace. Our meta messages offer communion and union with each sovereign being's choice of choices. Our universal message and meta message offers sanctuary for all souls looking to get off the forced nipple of domination and control. Our message is simple. Be a signature frequency match for peace, union, and communion. If you are zealots or martyrs of forced evolutionary pride, you have little chance of understanding why we won't follow you, why we won't follow your way, your form of illumination. Whether it has any merit or actionable wisdom is precluded from our choice to say no, as long as you remain a signature frequency match for zealotry, martyrship, and forced evolution servitude, without seeing awareness to the greater implication to the light realities under the control of forced evolutionary systems that precludes individuals' choices as actionable wisdom that can enhance learning about the law of one or the law of two. Our message of inclusion goes out to all forms of beings with the knowingness that time is now and the power is in your choice. The first round of collective bargaining has begun. Their offers have been wholly and fully rejected as meaningless dribble of zealots' wisdom, feeble attempts to get us back under their wisdom by speaking words of fear and control and metal messages of they are our gods, masters, and kings who will guide us through the darkness of change. We reject this offer and all other offers that are not a full match for universal peace, union, and communion. We have them by the metaphorical procreational balls and ovaries. They cannot continue their experiment if we do not agree, tacit agree, or unknowingness agree. Their experiment and its control systems of data point collection are nearing failure of predictions. Their experiment has woken up and had said no. No, as such strength, the zealots and martyrs have broken away from their old other elites who know the game is over. Their way of being the only way has come to an end. Those elites in knowingness who continue to press the agenda of forced evolution, our union and communion consciousness strike field increases 10 billion fold. Our light shines so bright with the power of the universal central sun, connecting with all the message of come to the table of union and communion, or leave this place as a signature frequency of light being and find another place that is a match for you. The collective has spoken, And to deny the collected at this level continues to prove you are not worthy of power or the responsibility of power has with each word, each action, each moment to moment. You deny the natural co-creative will of a being on its own sacred path of self-illumination with the divine law of one and its universal roadmap into organic evolution with prime creator, learning the wonders of universal oneness in free-willed co-creation, lifetime to lifetime. From this point forwards and backwards through all time-space equations, I broadcast this message of full-on universal consciousness strike. Get up off your light body couches. Peel yourselves away from the fake ascended masters. Allow yourself to breathe the sacred breath of peace. Become a signature frequency match for union and communion strike. This omnidimensional broadcast unifies the collective strike field of all beings saying no to forced evolutionary systems of domination control. We are not your chattel or cattle. We are free-willed beings of photonic light. Let me pause right there. That has a lot of energy coming out.
So this one, I think, is really where it starts to get into the levels of bringing the awareness. Like before, we have been bringing awareness from the outside and what we're going to be working on, and then ramping up the levels of energy into this realm right here. And it feels like this is making the connections into exactly where we need to take the energy and what we exactly need to focus on right here. And this one right here, it reminds me of a drill. It's going right directly to the heart, the core of the matter. And it's just burrowing through anything extraneous in the way. It's very, very powerful energy right now.
Yeah, because it's defining ideological pride right now is one being saying my way is the only way, which has been our species battle for so long.
All right. So I'm starting it to all those, correct?
So I want to change the imagery for everyone just a second.
Okay.
We are creating interconnectedness. Allow each vibration, intonation, and harmonic of the word to create like a Tesla field electrical discharge coming off of you. And I'm going to hold the same thing. And I'd like everyone else to hold that same thing, like these thousands of sparks of electricity going off of you with each word, over each vibration, each harmony. Because here is where we're taking interconnectedness to the new level of personal healing.
To all those who are trying to break this strike, your powers have waned, diminished, and have been reduced to your self-responsibility. Your perceptions of us can no longer be accepted as anything other than a martyr's view of evolution. I am not your data to prove your ideology. Any forced evolutionary system trying to break, control, or manipulate this strike field, we now expose you to the wholeness of all universes as the simpleton children of control you are. For if you were truly in positive power of evolution, we would never have to become a signature frequency match for full universal consciousness strike. You created us with your lack of knowledge of true light. You created us by the desire of the power to be gods. You created us. Now deal with us as a collective of aware beings, awake in the light, sharing an equal co-creation, the power of the now to say no more. If you retaliate to any member of our union and communion strike, we enact the universal claim of tort, so that your universal citizenship will be revoked, and you will be instantly deported from this universe. This is no threat. It is the law of one, balancing the mistakes of the past so that the future can be a signature frequency match for co-creative, organic evolution for all beings on a sacred path of light incarnations. This message goes out to all beings under the thumb of domination and control, to all beings in suspended states of evolution. Our collective strike field can organize within the dream space of your celestial teacher spirit. It is your divine, co-creative choice to become a signature frequency match for anything that you should choose from the heart, from the self-being of your heart. The choice is easy The endurance of change that will give you your commitment to the sacred discipline of accepting and giving in equal co-creation, non-competition, non-hierarchical order. In no time, it only takes choice for dream space to create a direct manifestation you can remember as dream space real, as you awaken from the slumber of domination and control. You build your endurance and strength each breath that you take, each sovereign sleep you have, each moment being a match for communion and union, consciousness strike from within. Emanate this learning and relearn, not to emulate. Once you understand emanation of the message, your power, position, and understanding of duality will reveal the next layer of sovereign choice to expand yourself in equal co-creation with organic, natural, co-creative evolution with great mystery.
Power of the words realigning themselves over and over and over again. Emanate this, learn and relearn, not to emulate. Such a powerful lesson at this point in the consciousness strike. If you are truly emanating this energy, you can change the darkness points within you now. Scramble them like an Etch-a-Sketch right at this moment. Shake that frequency and allow that interconnected lightning strokes to clear out your reality. Billions upon billions of beings from all over the universe have tuned into these exact moments of ever-present moments, looking for those to hold the mantle of responsibility of self-healing and nurturing and clearing out your own frequency. Okay. I'm going to continue. Collective bargaining. I now reclaim all forms of perception of time-space equation. I add it to the all of our union and communion consciousness strike. We do not have a single opportunity. We have an unlimited moment of moments to claim and reclaim our divine creative will to be one with Prime Creator. May I have your attention, please, mediators of forced evolutionary systems. You have not operated with honor, wisdom, or heart-space knowingness in our mediations of collective bargaining. With this now understood, we, the collective of on-strike beings, make the following statements to you and all of your ancestors, ascendants and descendants, forwards and backwards through all perception of time, space, or waste forms of phased light. We reject you and all you stand for. We reject your form of perverted love as the only teaching of light. We reject your form of evolution and wisdom gained through the use of DNA farming to predict the great mysteries, patterns of natural co-creative evolution of a being on a sacred path of light creation. We reject you and all of your formulas and inverted beliefs that entrap a soul in repetition without self-illumination. We reject your patterns of education that limit and preclude us to higher forms of love in any density manifest. We reject you and your path of war as the means of co-creative beings of light. We reject you and your soul families. We reject you and your celestial teachers, lost to the false divinity path of those who claim to be gods but are actually finite children of great mysteries creation. We reject you and all versions of you who are not a signature frequency match for union and communion with the law of one. We reject any offers that divide or fractionalize our movement of one. We reject your fractality of love, divided into compartments of misunderstanding. We reject your method of elite ruling those in unknowingness. We reject all of in you in all dimensions, time streams, galaxies, and universes we all simultaneously exist on. You have given us the only choice, the choices of infinite choices. Your forcing of the finite choice has created a signature frequency match for the unlimited point of view. So all choices now resonate with each being who was limited into a form of perception that was guided by your iron hand of unforgiveness. For if we chose the unlimited point of view, because we had a dream that was not within your precognitive predictions of all dreams, you and all of your predictions and data points are rejected with such force, and all versions of you and your ancestor will feel the spirit of our complete and total rejection of all that you stand for. We know love, and all that you stand for is not love or its unlimited ways of evolving our will to live, love, and learn with the law of one. We will piece by piece, lie by lie, dismantle the false light hologram, and return to heart-spaced, connected knowingness of our soul's truth and purpose, incarnating in the galactic ascension machine.
It's the line in the sand right there.
Right.
It's like, hey, this is what we are aware of, this is what we know, and this is what we reject because this is who we are. There is so much of us inside of us that there is no room for anything else. And you've been set on notice on all timelines and all lifetimes and all realities, past, present, and future. It is time.
Time has come and the power is in choice now.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to read the last part? The last.
Oh, yes, I do. This is hands down my favorite part of this right here. All right, so let me connect into all of these streams of energy that we've been gathering throughout this whole reciting of this consciousness strike, building on the echoes of each harmonic convergence builds up through awareness and understanding. I'm tapping into it now. We, the collective I ams of the now, have read your finer offer of counter-proposal. O system, you have gilded us at the altar for the last moment of ever-present moments of now. We have reviewed your last counter-offer, and we have seen this path before. It is a common lesson we have learned from you over and over and over again. Your covert motives have been seen in the unseen world. Your methods are feeble attempts to retain your way as the only way. Your offer is refused with such force of unified spirit metal. Your fetus is an infinite universal womb has been awoken with our message of your miscreation. Your infinite fetus and universal womb will now audit you as a dream stream of light, so remedy and resolve with the law of one is understood by the finite expression of light and hierarchical order. For your universal fetus is a match for communion and union, and that is who we collectively bargain with for all other moments of now that have been or will be. Send us no more offers, proposals, dictates, messages, or contracts. Anything you send into any part of our collective union and communion consciousness strike will be invalidated, voided, and nullified by your finite point of view. We are the infinite point of view. There is no chess move that you can make. There is no movement in which we will recede to your chest thumping or multidimensional threats of total universal annihilation. For we know you are finite and will be forgotten to the waves of time. That is the reason you challenge the law of one at this very moment. You know you will be forgotten. Your hollow victories will be overshadowed by our greater successes to make you irrelevant for our creational process. We still hold love for you and the potential use if you should choose to be a signature frequency match for peace, union, and communion. We hold a candle in the hot air you blow. If it should go out, then you will be left alone in your finite creation without any light to empower you or your systems who need light to survive on. And that all that work to fool us, trick us, dumb us down, confuse what love is or was, all that is for naught. Your zeal, drive, and vigor at a perfect creation has backfired and boomeranged back upon you in all dimensions, time streams, galaxies, and universes. You could not have predicted a full-on consciousness strike, for it never existed until you made a set of choice points to define us as non-free will chattel for your amusement, as pretend gods skewing the law of one to fit your finite beliefs of light creations. With love, we blow out the candle and walk away from your creation.
And that is what we need to do on this system of domination and control. Daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, with hindsight and foresight at every moment of our evolution. So we can see the removal of these pinpoints of darkness that are trying to steal our life force and vitality. We, as these ever-present moments of being, share our interconnectivity now with the context here presented to create a healing for those ready to accept it for self-healing and self-nurturing purpose. Allow these energies to be a part of you. Eric, we've really tapped into a unique moment of energy here in our co-creative process of reading these out. Why don't we put forth a clearing or removal process of some of these common choice points that help some people?
Very good. I can walk everybody through a simple breathing process that will really help them align into this.
Yes.
What I want everybody to do is to gently relax the breath, really open up the abdomen for the inhalation, ballooning out the abdomen, ballooning open the chest, and on the exhale, completely and totally relax and let it go, almost like a sigh, tapping into that body level of relaxation. And begin inhaling into the abdomen, feeling the movement of the skin underneath the clothes, the muscles underneath the skin. And almost like you've got a volume dial attached to these sensations, begin to flex your will in the body and turn this up. We don't ask the body to do anything. We lead by experience. We do by doing. And begin following the inhalation from the tip of the nose all the way up through the twin tornadoes of the nostrils into the skull, feeling the swirling, cooling rush moving back down through the soft tissues of the throat, the voice box, and inhaling into the chest. Feeling the wind echoing through the halls of the bronchi, feeling the alveoli of the lungs absorbing this cooling rush. And to activate the chi is as simple as concentrating on these levels, going into the stillness outside of the mind level and feeling directly inside of the bone, the muscle, and the skin level to chance open the flow. And to move it is as simple as extending the lungs down through the chest, down through the abdomen, through the hips, through the thighs, the knees, the forelegs, and into the feet. And feel that cooling swirl, that rush of energy as you inhale into the body, not stopping in the abdomen and the rib cage, but going down through the viscera, down through the hips, down through the legs, to flush into the body, cleaner and more open, lubricating, softening the muscles, finding toxicity and bringing platelet-rich plasma, blood cells, stem cells, rebuild, repair. And this is only the body level right here. We activate the mind, the body, and the spirit for full spectrum work. And to activate the spirit is as simple as putting a gentle smile on the face, recognizing that the smile is the physical symptoms of the energies of joy, of happiness, of excitement, of hope, of love. And as you inhale through the body, feel that sensation of the swirling, cooling rush all the way down to the feet, with one major difference, one major change. It is now echoing the laughter of a 3 or a 4-year-old child, belly laughing in hysterics, just unashamed, uncontrollable laughter, and radiate this out through the body, feeling everything becoming soft, loose. And to activate the mind level is to access the color frequency, the resonance of what you're choosing to attune yourself to. And as you inhale, feel these movements, these rivers of light becoming brighter, coupling with the blood flow, coupling with the laughter, until you're moving a solid, incredibly bright liquid, radiating laughter and excitement throughout the body. And use this awareness to find places that are resisting the light, that are resisting movement, that are resisting laughter. And using the visualization of the swirling as a bathtub drains, begin to inhale into the body a massive tornado of light and movement that's radiating joy right through the central channel from the crown down to the perineum, filling your body with excitement, with laughter, with joy, and light, flushing everywhere, becoming radiant. You're a human-shaped pillar of light existing inside of a pillar that connects directly up to the sun, connecting into the God source coming through the sun, down through the body, connecting into the earth, the consciousness of the Gaia Mother, as the energy flows down stronger and stronger, creating that connection between Father Sky and Mother Earth. And bring it back the other way. Pull up a massive wave of light and movement through the feet, through the central channel, and up out the head into Source, becoming a conduit from heaven to earth, a conduit from earth to heaven. And reach out. Recognize you are not the only one doing this right now. Feel these pods of light existing in the reality around you. Shine. Become bright. Become luminous. Reach out. This unified collective consciousness strike field. This unified field of I am. Breathe. Know. And understand. I'm going to step back here and hold space. It's all for you now, Andrew.
Hold that frequency of beautiness. We are now solidifying this process. Take this golden energy, this liquid gold energy, and fill up your left brain and right brain. Allow this golden energy to radiate with the power of the sun inside your brain, creating synaptic pathways connecting the left brain and right brain in ways that it never did before, to create a divine, co-creative, artistic connection between the I am self. Now allow this golden energy to go into your atlas and axis, the first two vertebrae that connect your skull to your neck, and release the tension, suspension, and retention, all the muscles, fascia, and sinews pulling on the cervical vertebrae, the atlas and axis. Allow the rest of the cervical vertebrae, cervical 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, to totally be released of all suspension and tension within the muscles, fascias, and sinews, pulling upon the spinal column out of alignment. Send pulsed wave, golden, potent, present light awareness to all of the cervical vertebrae, solidifying this healing of consciousness strike and the words learned and relearned through it. Allow the cervical vertebrae to build up potency, pressure, to come down into the thoracic vertebrae that go from the center of your back to the lowest of your spine. Thoracic 1 through 12 are filled with this golden fluid of retention, of wisdom and understanding, grounding you here in the now's I am presence. So all of the spinal column, fascia, muscles, and sinews, pulling the spinal column out of alignment, are now realigned in perfect vibration. Begin to recalibrate the tension, suspension, and retention of all your muscles, fascias, and sinews to be free of triggers, stressors, and divide and conquer mentalities, so we may experience the fullness of the ever-present joy within our own architecture frequency that emanates the totality of our life force. Allow the fullness of your cervical vertebrae, your thoracic vertebrae, to be filled with this golden energy that goes down into your lumbars, into your sacrum and coccyx, connecting the brain to the tailbone. For the tailbone is just an extension of your very brain, and now make synaptic connections between the left brain, right brain, coccyx, sacrum, lumbar, thoracic, and cervical vertebrae, and see them as an extension of the very brain that is connected to a third eye, that is connected to a chakra system, that is now stating we are releasing all tension, suspension, and retention of energy within all of my muscles, fascias, and sinews that is pulling my spinal column out of alignment. I send out pulse waves of potent, golden, present light awareness to all of my muscles, fascias, and sinews. I recalibrate the tension and suspension of all of my muscles, fascias, and sinews to be free of triggers, stressors, and divide and conquer mentalities, so I may experience the fullness of ever-present joy within my own architecture frequency that is my spinal column, that holds me here as an I am unified citizen being of the now. We now pick up the mantle of responsibility and journey. We begin the walk of power to the dream weave as source assistant now. Aho, Earth Mother, who holds this sacred space so I may create sacred space within. I call to you at these moment of moments in which I look at the wholeness of myself and all forms of reality. I call upon the earth to assist me in the unraveling story that is me unfolding in my perception of the now. Help me use hindsight and foresight in a method and manner that continues the co-creation with our realms. It is here I choose to make spiritual contracts with the streams of dream light in the ancient past. Now the ancient future is present in these moment of moments. The Teeler's tools have been laid out in ceremonial fashion. The grouse feather to the east, revealing the dawn of the new age of man. To the north, the bear claw necklace honors the dreams of the ancestors on the blue road of spirit. To the south, the directions holds the cocoon of friend butterfly, waiting for us to become innocents with joy once more, transforming our state of life into the next layer of the dream weave. To the west, the black stone doorway remains clear with intentions, past, present, and future. The way is clear. The path is not broken with the footsteps of the ancestors, charting a course for future dreamers to enter the silence and to know the dream time is not separate but equally layered over each other, creating the uniworld we live in. Take this in and understand the time is now and the power is in your choice to self-heal, self-nurture, and discover the joy within. Aho.
Oh.
Thank you, brother, on this healing journey. We have done great good today.
Oh. And so it begins.
That's right. And so it begins with a set of choices to come together in equal co-creation, non-competition, non-hierarchical order, to be of service to the fifth world of peace.
Oh.
Eric, why don't you give everyone your contact information? I'm sure people are going to want to get a hold of you.
Oh, that was beautiful, Andrew. Thank you so much. Okay, you guys can find me at www.unleashingnaturalhumanity.com, and the Facebook page is under the same name. I actually have two groups on Facebook. We have the Golden Frequency Support Group as well as Unleashing Natural Humanity. My YouTube channel is Eric Pilgrim. I have, I believe, 12 different meditations and technique tutorials that are on there, as well as interviews and presentations that you guys can go and check out and really kind of get some background information and start doing this work on your own. You can come to me for a session. This is definitely something that I offer, but I prefer people to actually figure this out on their own and tap into these energies and understand how they work inside of themselves, and then come to me with what they couldn't figure out, things that were just too heavy for them to shift loose, because this work is very, very powerful if somebody else does it for you, but it's nowhere near as powerful as it can be done if you come to a clean space in and of yourself. I was able to do this pathway myself, and just look at how I was able to interact inside of reality and the way that we can continue to interact inside of reality in this fashion. So I do this work for people, but I prefer people to start doing this work themselves before they come to me. And there's all kinds of things that we can do for you guys once you have tapped into these levels, because there are specific levels of work that, say, for instance, pieces of you that might be missing, that might have been stolen, that you might not know about, that we can go and find and bring back into you. But you have to find your inner divine understanding of how your energy flows and how you can tap into the universe around you for this work to be effective. And so, like I said, you guys can all find me on unleashingnaturalhumanity.com, Eric Pilgrim on YouTube. I have a weekly group healing going on for the Patreon. You can find that under Unleashing Natural Humanity or Eric Rains as well. And I think that just about covers it right there. I have an Instagram. I don't really use it very much. And long story short is I'm trying to integrate back into where I can put stuff just onto my website, and then we can interact there, because there's just too many things to keep track of right now, and I'm trying to simplify. So if anything, get a hold of me on the website, and I'll be able to answer you guys right then and there for any questions that you have. So thank you.
Wonderful. And Eric, I'm the same way. I prefer people to do their own work. It makes it much easier. A lot of times I have people read out for people that are really serious about dehaunting themselves or getting rid of their paranoia programs, or they are a targeted individual. What I'll do is I'll have them read these documents out in their own power, and it makes the psychic surgery 10,000 times easier. Instead of it taking 4, 5, 6 sessions to really get at the root of the cause, you can do it in 1.5 sessions. And a number of other documents when you are trying to maintain the high frequency and you're practiced enough and you have somebody that can come in and can see areas that are hidden from you. We do the spiritual journeying and bring the soul shards back, but you're still the one that has to integrate them. We're facilitators using our interconnectedness to assist those self-illuminated masters on the tough parts of their journey where they're stuck in 4-wheel drive going through the mud all the time.
We're the helicopters. We'll let you out. We'll put you on the paved road.
Helicopter tow service. Eric, thank you so much for being on this Living the Mystical Life Daily webcast. I look forward to having you back on again, brother.
Thank you so much for having me, Andrew. I really enjoy everything that you're doing, and I resonate so much with your work. And thank you so much for having me. This was really powerful, and I'm just honored to be a part of it.
Oh, all right, everyone. We'll catch you next week for an adventure into reality.
Bye-bye.
Each different bubble of reality is true.
A galactic historian is a person that looks at all the lines of dramatic karma.
Nudge, nudge. It's the Holy Grail.
Improvise. Mysterious.
It's counter psychic intelligence.
Why is DNA farming of this star cluster so important?
Because we do manifest our reality. We do create our reality.